Been looking for some new guests also that can challenge us, especially in the area of cybersecurity. I think that's something that we do need to spend some time on to know just how bad the situation is. Because what we are hearing is North Korea. North Korea did it. North Korea did it. North Korea did it, we think. And what amazes me is that not one of the networks have said, we believe it was North Korea.
Really?
They're all saying, well, the administration thinks it was North Korea. And then when they bring on these experts, the so-called experts, the experts with, the slides, from out of town with slides, we used to call them, now it's PowerPoint. But these experts come on and they say, I'm not so sure it is North Korea. Now, why would they be doing that good cop, bad cop situation? Because they don't know that it is North Korea.
You don't think they know? Or that they just want to cause confusion in us?
I think it may not be North Korea.
Really? You think it's internal? Or?
I think it could be internal. And I think that what these experts are all saying is, and they brought an expert from Amazon, an expert from, here and here and here and here and here, IT people, saying you can make anybody look like they have done something with that DNS server.
Right.
You can make them look like they did it. So how do we know that North Korea did it? North Korea is about as far behind as anybody in the area of computing. Okay. They have this thing called, now they've come out with Bureau 121 is supposed to be the agency that was involved in doing this, or the organization of some 1,000 hackers that have done this. But here's the thing. All right, let's look at Sony hacking, or getting hacked, or let's look at Sony being a company who has a lot of clout, a lot of reputation, a lot of responsibility in the world, and you have, let's say, an administration who, let's say they find out, this is just hypothetical, let's say they find out that they were going to do a negative story on the president, a negative film on the president, and so they tell them not to do that story. That's not a good idea. And Sony says, we're going to do it anyway. And the administration may be able to say, well, guess what? We can't guarantee that you won't get into problems. Yeah. So here comes the hacking. Now, I don't know if it came from North Korea, and nobody else does either. But the president today is supposed to do a news conference and state that they are 99% sure.
Right.
Now, why the 99% sure? Either they did it or they didn't.
You got me. I don't know.
Yeah, but I just think, though, that when you have something as powerful as a media source like that can put out information that will change people's minds, that will change people's ideas, thoughts, whatever, and you have them that powerful, and then all of a sudden they get hit by, North Korea has other things to do than to attack a movie called The Interview.
Right. Well, it did show, some things that they probably wouldn't like. They worship their leader, They worship the Kims or whatever,
Right. So, but for all we know, North Korea could be saying, hey, any news is good news, or any publicity is good publicity. Who knows? I don't know. But I just think that this means something very serious has taken place. The United States has just been taken hostage.
Oh, yeah.
Because when Sony said, fine, we will shut down the movie then, they just controlled the media.
Absolutely. So why do you think government officials, because government officials approved a lot of the controversial scenes in the movie. That was all part of the... It
could be part of the whole scam. It could be part of the whole thing. Why would the administration approve something like that? First of all, why do you just poke somebody in the eye with a stick?
Well, I think the question is, why are we going to the government to approve what's supposed to be under free speech in the first place? Yeah.
Bingo. But the idea, though, that it would shut down a whole movie now means that there can be all kinds of manipulation upon any company.
It's blackmail.
A gas company, an oil company, any company. It can be anything, anytime now. And what has been unleashed is the power of cyber warfare that is more powerful than any army.
Oh, yeah.
This pretty well takes care of an army. Seriously. we don't need armies any longer.
Well, you shut down, say, the internet or satellite systems or whatever, and you've lost your army. You have no contact with them.
That's right.
Yeah, wow.
They just said on TV also, which when I say they say on TV, to me it's the coming to terms with the idea that we don't need armies any longer. We need a cyber warfare army, and that is it. And that's what they've got. And every country has them.
Sure.
And then they ask the question, well, doesn't it seem that perhaps China might be going along with this? And the answer was a resounding yes.
Sure.
China has to probably be involved with this. And then you ask, well, what about Russia? Is Russia involved with this? So you've got Russia, China, and North Korea. That's kind of a team, you know?
Flags are lining up.
And that is a team. We talked about this last Wednesday. We talked about the fact that, this is a team. This is a formidable team. Now, maybe North Korea doesn't have the ability to do it on their own, but they certainly do with Russia and China.
And I read an article where, this whole economic downturn in Russia is, China's going to be doing a lot of financing for them now. And so we're just pushing them, further into the arms. Or, the conglomeration is being solidified over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what's happening.
Either this is the real deal and North Korea is doing it, or it's not a real deal and our own administration is doing it and paying back Sony or anybody else. But this has got to put the fear in every corporation that they can be attacked now.
Right.
Nobody is exclusive. Now, they're trying to say things like, well, but Sony didn't have very good security. Really?
Yeah.
Really? You think so? But see, what has happened now is that with the internal dispute that has happened, the internal things that have come
There's been some pretty nasty
public.
things.
Yeah. It's been emails from the bosses saying ugly things about Joe, whatever her name is. Angelina Jolie. Saying things like, oh, she's a crazy woman and all that. Well, there is a lot more said in that email than just she's a crazy woman.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then there have been things talked about Denzel Washington. Why use a black guy? We don't want a black guy. And, but those are the minor things compared to what has probably been released.
Right.
But all of their official memos have been released. How much people make, how much they're getting paid for doing movies, which is going to really tick off the other people who didn't get paid as much as they did.
Social security numbers, aliases that they go under, phone numbers. Yeah. And
there's going to be personal things like things they have that they know about their background that they probably don't want known.
Okay, well, why would the administration do this to an industry that overwhelmingly kind of supports him? Usually Hollywood seems to be very supportive of the Obama administration. And so he's not just hurting, if it is the administration or, the government, whatever you want to call it, is doing this to Sony, then they're hurting their base, kind of.
Well, it can also be a show of strength. Right. And a position statement of don't go against the administration. Don't ever, ever go against the administration. Or it could be just simply, we've known that there have been places that have been attacked like New York City that was from the inside. There really wasn't. 9/11 was an inside job. Well, 9/11 was a base. New York's a base for the president also, but he still didn't mind attacking that area.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, those things are for the sake of...
These are mafia tactics.
It's just awful. It is. And that's what is happening in this country today. And people don't realize it. And now they're coming to this shock of, gee, police really do kill people out there. And police really are vicious and violent. And, they're just coming to the outer grips of what's happening. And now people are starting to see that people in business, they've got to be scared to death. There is no more free business, no more free reign. No more can you do what you want to do. You've got to always be acknowledging what is in the government and what do they want. And I think that the administration has been really quiet on this issue for some really good reasons. Now, on Imus this morning, they said, okay, now when are we going to bomb North Korea? Oh. Now, you know how that just sort of comes out on some radio show or some TV show?
That is unbelievable.
I know. When are we going to bomb North Korea? And they said that, what's that guy's name? Carter, the new Secretary of Defense. What's his first name? Anyway, the new Secretary of Defense nominee has, 3 years ago, raised the question of should we just bomb North Korea. Now, that really worried me when I heard them discussing that on Imus and saying, but, Mr. Carter, he said, look up his name there.
Well, that's not good because that's China's buddy, and China just tested their new intercontinental ballistic missile that has multiple warheads that could, they shoot one over here and they could take out many cities.
Well, the Obama administration is viewing the massive hack attack against Sony Pictures Entertainment as a serious national security matter and is considering a range of possible options as a response. Now, I don't like that part of it either.
It's Ashton Carter.
Ashton Carter, yes. Ashton Carter, the Secretary of Defense nominee, said 3 years ago, when is it going to be time to just bomb North Korea? And there was a gentleman who was a cybersecurity expert who was talking about that statement that he had made, along with the former Secretary of Defense at that time. Now, we are so intimately, it seems like, involved with every country around the world in a negative fashion. I mean, it's just like on the turn of a dime, we can be at war with them.
Sure.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that were not the lead-in to something much more serious.
We should take comfort that the administration said that it would be a proportionate response.
Oh, yes, a proportionate response. Right. Yeah, we ought to talk about that. We'll be back after this.